Rehan, now my question to you would be, is that we all are very excited to hear about the contribution that Karandaaz is making into the digital space, and also, but for the interest of the audience and also for my own knowledge, would you like to elaborate on the role of Karandaaz, in terms specifically for financial inclusion, promoting the innovation, and also, serving the underserved sectors, SMEs and many other sectors that you're currently doing work with? What has been the challenges? What has been the learning? What areas are you currently working with different institutions?
Yeah, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Really honored to be sharing this panel with esteemed colleagues. Karandaaz is a not-for-profit organization which was created in 2014 in collaboration from DFID, which is UK Aid for International Development, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Both the donors came together and really thought that there is a catalyst which is required in the market. While there is a lot of work which is being done for financial inclusion and financial deepening, but they also wanted to play a role in the country, and that's where we were created. We have two programs, one focusing on solving the access to finance issues or capital issues for SMEs so that they can actually grow. I think we all know that SMEs have a vital role to play in the economy, and we're trying to solve that and fill that gap. The other role that we're playing is in the digital financial services. This is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And I've just referred to a comment made on a quote from Bill Gates, where he said banking will remain and the banks will not. I really believe he was referring to the fact that there is an unbanked population out there. And to serve those unbanked, there's a role that the banks have to play. And if they don't play that role, the demand is there, but somebody else will fill that demand.
Absolutely.
So I think that's where he was referring to. Banks know very well how to make money in the segments that they choose to operate in. And that's where, when we look at the market on the digital financial services side, so there are a few contrasts that we look at. Is the mindset of the industry of market share or market size? You need a very different mindset, very different leadership, a very different posture of the organization if you're fighting for market share versus if you're fighting for market size. Market size requires collaboration. Market size requires looking at the market, looking at analyzing the cost structures of the market, creating new distribution models, et cetera, embracing new experiments, for example. And that's where, I think the industry toggles between market share and growing the market size. And we're trying to play our role to make sure that, the players are also focused on the market size. The other one is the banked and the unbanked. There is an informal market. Payments happen, savings happen, informally, loan sharks are there, et cetera, et cetera. So I would argue the fact that a common rural person does not use financial services. The fact is that he uses cash, and cash is inefficient. It can only take us that far. The economy can only benefit that far. That individual can only benefit that far. Unfortunately, we have not been able to demonstrate business models where if that person who's using dominant cash can actually switch to digital. And it's very interesting if you look at informal sectors, so for example, Hundi or loan sharks, there's no KYC, there's a lot of social kind of authentication, and the loan is approved just like that. So he's basically used to that kind of infrastructure and that kind of supply, and where I think the current banking industry needs to evolve to is to how to convert a cash user to a digital user.
Sure.
Instead of forcing a product and expecting him to learn, the products have to be created in his environment, in his or her environment. And that's where Karandaaz focuses on financial services for poor. We take a bit of an extreme position because we feel if the industry can create financial service for poor, the segments that are in between will definitely get covered. And I think there's a intellectual or philosophical debate that will the trickle-down effect happen when people who are in that in the banking sector they will trickle down the effects, and will it happen that way, or should we actually just go to the bottom and try to do that? And that's what we're trying to encourage.
Sure.
And we are part of quite a few projects. Our own effort is divided into infrastructure. So we're supporting State Bank of Pakistan in creation of a micropayments gateway, which should be low cost, which should really make the payments ecosystem in the country really interoperable. We're working with quite a few government institutions like National Savings. We work with Punjab E-Credit Scheme, National Bank, where we feel that these institutions needs to take the next step to digitize, and maybe there's support that is required from outside. And then lastly, we also focus on the fintechs. We feel there's a role that the fintechs should play. And a couple of years ago, when we started chalking our program, we saw that while the government and investors are focusing on tech startups, there was not a focus on fintech startups, and we've given seed funding to 7 fintechs to really demonstrate to the banks and also to the investor that this is a viable entity, and partnerships should happen with fintechs and banks, and we must recognize the role that the innovation will happen outside the banks as well. And of course, as Irfan Sab mentioned, we are also supporting State Bank in the digital banking regulations as well.
Thank you very much, Rehan.